This is All India Radio. In the program Spotlight, now we bring you a discussion on settling interstate border disputes in Northeast for a brighter future. The participants are Subimal Bhattacharjee, political analyst, and Sonu Sood, AIR correspondent.
During the last 4 years, the government under the leadership of Prime Minister Narendra Modi has signed several agreements to end insurgency and bring lasting peace to the northeastern states. A historic border agreement was signed between Assam and Arunachal Pradesh this week on April 20. Last month on March 29, a border agreement was signed between Assam and Meghalaya. To discuss this proactive and concerted effort by the government to settle long-standing interstate border disputes to end insurgency in the northeast, we have with us Mr. Subimal Bhattacharjee, political analyst. Sir, a warm welcome to you from All India Radio.
Thank you so much for having me here.
Sir, to begin the discussion, can you tell us about the key agreements and accords involving the northeastern states in the last 4 years? And what is the significance of the peace efforts by the government picking up pace for the overall development of the economy in this region?
See, ever since Prime Minister Modi has taken office, there has been a special focus on Northeast. And that focus entailed building on the infrastructure, improving the existing infrastructure, trying to solve existing political as well as ethnic issues, and also, try and see how to bring Northeast to the mainstream. There was a sense of alienation. So with that attitude, the government has been working. And ever since Amit Shah took over as the Home Minister, he very proactively took upon the role to improve the engagement with Northeast in a far much more comprehensive manner. So as a strategy, 3 things were looked at. First one was to give respect and credence and bring a lot of that to the national mainstream. The cultural traits, the ethnic characteristic, the dresses, the food habits, all of that, from the different tribes and communities from the Northeast to the rest of the country. The second was to solve the existing issues of, security in the region so that, there is stability. And the third was to see that development impetus in the region. So there has been marked changes that have been seen in all of these areas. And as you have, put in the question, agreements, so the few agreements in the last few years that have been signed that have ensured lasting peace in many states of the region are, beginning with the NLFT agreement in Tripura in 2019, to the BRU agreement again in Tripura in 2020, the Bodo Accord of 2020, the Karbi agreement of 2021, Tribal Peace Accord in 2022. And along with that, the Home Minister also focused to see that, the interstate boundary disputes that are also taken up. So the Assam-Meghalaya interstate boundary agreement happened last year, and just 3 days back, the Assam-Arunachal Pradesh interstate boundary agreement, an MOU was signed between the two chief ministers, but it had its origin to an agreement signed in 2022. So the approach and attitude has been to address all these issues. And parallelly at the same time, an issue of contention that is to remain, the Armed Force Special Power Act, which basically applied to the disturbed areas. Now, there were concerns from most of the states, to remove that. So in the last few years, a significant improvement in law and order and security situation led the government to take steps on that. So as a result of which today in Assam, 70% of the area is now free from the Armed Force Special Power Act. In Manipur, Armed Force Special Power Act has been removed from 15 police stations in 6 districts. In Arunachal Pradesh, only 3 districts and 1 district with 2 police stations are left under the ambit of the Act. In Nagaland, Armed Force Special Power Act has been removed from 15 police stations in 7 districts. And in Tripura and Meghalaya, it has been completely withdrawn. The intent, as the Home Minister has explained a few times, has been to take provisions of the Act away from the whole region, and this is being done gradually. So all of these efforts that have been seen in the last 4 years have really brought in, significant changes in the way the center approached the region, and that sense of alienation, that sense of distance that was always pervading, that has been reduced significantly to that end that today, violence in the region has been at its lowest in the last 4 years.
So you feel, sir, that this improvement in the security situation, as you said, that since 2014, if we see in 2020, the figures that we have, insurgency incidents have come down 80%. Number of casualties in security forces have come down by 75%. Civilian casualties have come down by 99%. You feel that investors and industry is likely to be enthused by these conflict resolution efforts, and the economies of these states will also get a boost?
Definitely. I think, that is happening. The perception that the northeastern region was a disturbed region, that has been dispelled significantly because of the continuity of peace situations, the improvement in law and order across the region, the attitude with which many of the long-standing disputes have been solved, the focus on getting infrastructure done. The government has invested significantly in the last few years on almost all the areas of infrastructure, whether it is road, whether it is air, whether it is railways, and even telecom and internet connectivity. So the ground has been laid for investments and industry to come and explore. And as you know, the Northeast has really not been a manufacturing hub, but it has a significant potential for tourism as well as for the service industry. Tourism has significantly improved in the region, almost all across the 7 states as well as Sikkim. And the infrastructure around tourism, where even the focus on ecotourism and local people are making available homestay avenues and all, that have also come up quite well. So I think these are absolutely motivators for a lot of investors to come in and explore the region from many perspectives, whether it's the tourism perspective, whether it's the small and medium industries perspective, whether it is looking at the natural resources as well as the fruits and flowers, the opportunities to do business with them. Those all avenues, going from agriculture to tourism, I think gets a boost, and we are already seeing that happening.
Sir, as you mentioned that a lot of specialized efforts have been made by the government for the development of the Northeast sector. A new scheme, PM Development Initiative for the Northeast, PM Divine, was announced in 2022-23 budget. Centre has approved 2,605 4G mobile towers to provide connectivity to more than 3,721 villages in Arunachal Pradesh. In fact, yesterday only, Union Communications Minister Ashwini Vaishnav dedicated 254 4G mobile towers in Arunachal Pradesh. So you feel that all these efforts at development will have multi-pronged effect in development in burgeoning of startups. As you said, service industry is one of the most important industries, not only for Northeast but for the entire India.
Yeah, definitely. I think the communication boost up, as was done yesterday, is just the first tranche. By 31st March next year, almost all of the Arunachal Pradesh state would be having 4G towers. You mentioned 2,605 towers, so we will have that. So automatically the connectivity improves. See, the whole idea of going to the last village, and the government and the Prime Minister mentions it as the first village. And if you have noted, on the 10th of April, the Home Minister, Mr. Amit Shah, actually went and spent the night at Kiputu village in Arunachal Pradesh, So I think the whole idea of connectivity to all the states in the region, particularly to the international border, is a significant move, because very many times, signals, mobile signals from the other side of the border were coming and inundating the regions in our border, and it was causing a lot of concerns among the dwellers on our side, the Indian citizens. So right now, apart from giving them connectivity, the possibility of expanding and exploring further areas of the service industry is there. For example, even if you look at the BPO industry, the business process outsourcing, that India has done very well for a lot of global clients. A lot of the human resources employed in this industry in different parts of the country, in the metro cities, are actually people from the Northeast region. With quality connectivity to the BPOs can be set up in the region. So these young brothers and sisters of Northeast actually don't need to go out and spend a lot in living in the metro. They could stay at home, be with their families, and be doing their same job. So the prospects of such opportunities are today possible because the focus on connectivity has been there.
So, Act East policy of the government, you feel that is a boon for our Northeast states with their close proximity and connectivity to the Southeast Asian nations. From being on the sidelines, you feel the Northeastern states of India now have the potential to become a growth engine for the country, an economic hub connecting Southeast Asia?
Yeah, definitely. I think the whole idea of renaming the Look East policy to Act East policy was to get action on the ground. And over all these years, the capacity building in all the northeastern states to be able to themselves do business with Southeast Asian countries, not only remain as a gateway for the rest of the country, that has been done. The different state governments, the officers, the entrepreneurs, the businessmen from the region have been motivated to go and engage with the Southeast Asian nations. They have gone as delegations. They have come and engaged in Delhi. The ambassadors of the Southeast Asian countries have visited Northeast regularly. Of course, a little bit hiatus had happened because of the COVID-19 and the lockdowns and all. But once again, this has resumed. The opportunity to, enhance the service industry prospects, the opportunity to enhance the tourism industry prospect is significant, when Northeast connects with Southeast Asia, because those countries have really done well in this area. So over a period of time, when these linkages become far much more prominent, when the exchanges happen very, very much more in a regular basis with these nations, I feel that, the possibility of trade and business increasing is going to be very, very significant.
So looking at the pace of the interstate border disputes, settlement, efforts and initiatives in the form of various accords and agreements, what is the role of the state governments? What is the significance of political will? And also, can you tell us a little bit about the involvement and commitment of the local populace to these peace efforts? Because as you said, ethnicity is a very important aspect of northeastern states.
I think it has been very clear to the local populace along the borders or rather the interstate borders on either side, that this lingering conflict doesn't do them any good. So they have always been, trying to support any effort that has been made to solve the border problems. However, those problems were not getting solved because the litigation approach with which most of these border disputes were proceeding and going on for years and years didn't go any forward. So the Union Home Minister prevailed upon the chief ministers of the region, and most of the disputes are basically between Assam and its neighboring states. Since Mr. Himanta Biswa Sarma became the chief minister, he became very active in trying to solve this problem. So if you see that even the Assam Arunachal dispute that has been going on, ever since Arunachal Pradesh was made a union territory in 1972, Assam Chief Minister and the Arunachal Chief Minister, Mr. Pema Khandu, commenced the CM level talk in January last year. And then on April 20 last year, they already took, some key decisions, which was that the border issues would be confined to a list of 123 villages. And what was decided was that on a time-bound basis, this 123 villages issues would be resolved. So the dispute over 37 of these 123 villages had been resolved on July 15th last year itself with the signing of the Namsai Declaration.
Sir, thank you so much for this discussion on the complexities of the interstate conflict resolution effort of the government in the northeastern states and its impact on the economy, on the development of the region.
Thank you very much.
You were listening to a discussion on settling interstate border disputes in Northeast for a brighter future. The participants were Subimal Bhattacharjee, political analyst, and Sonu Sood, AIR correspondent. This program was produced and presented by the News Services Division of All India Radio. You can listen to it on our mobile app News on AIR. This program is also available on our YouTube channel News on AIR Official. You may share your feedback about this program through email at airnsttalks@gmail.com or WhatsApp on 9289 094044.